mentioned number 56, William Gant's been in and out.
And again, I think it's a good time to mention what a great crowd we have here. A number of folks have trekked down from Doylestown to watch this game, and we've got an excellent home crowd here. Certainly the best crowd I've seen in the last 2 years.
Well, there's no better team to watch play against your team than Central Bucks West, if you don't mind losing occasionally, that is. But certainly, with the way this game is going, as exciting as these Eagles have been, I wouldn't be surprised to see crowds like this every night.
And the Eagles with an abbreviated home schedule this year, only 4 games at home this year, and there's motion. That time it was number 77 on the offense. Adam Smizer jumped a little bit there, called for illegal motion.
Well, you saw Snyder's head jerk, and he went with a little bit of a hard count. That time it threw his left tackle off.
Well, that's a big break for the Eagles, so instead of 3rd and 3, we've got 3rd and 8. They're going to call it 3rd and 9. And we've yet to tick off a second here in this 4th quarter. Might see a little change in play calling here. Lowe goes in motion to the far side, and Snyder goes right after him. Jeff Butler tries to get to him. Oh, the pass was there, but falls incomplete. The intended receiver, number 13, Dave Brown. Boy, I'll tell you, that ball was there. It was a little bit behind him on the hip, perhaps, and Brown unable to reel it in.
And we see that CB West, with a good, solid offense, not too creative, but when they needed the big yardage on a big play, set Lowe in motion just to throw a little wrench into the Eagles' plans. And it worked that time. Lowe, of course, is going to draw men wherever he goes. And that time, Braun, who hasn't been playing much, slipped into the game and slipped out into the flat.
And now we have now the first punt of the evening for the Bucks. On the second play of the 4th quarter. Excellent snap, no pressure. The Eagles set up for a return. That's a fine kick, fielded by Brahim Mitchell at the 25-yard line. Mitchell tries to spin off a tackle. He had no place to go. Let's call it 5 yards on the return.
Well, to get anything, he would have had to spin off 3. A tremendous coverage by the Bucks, and a good kick that time to allow the coverage to get down there.
It was an excellent kick that time, and I'll tell you, Eagles certainly were not rushing the kicker. They were set up for a return, but the Bucks defenders did an excellent job. However, the Eagles, with possession, down by 3 points, this is their opportunity to get back on top on the scoreboard here. An excellent job defensively by Noristown.
They put in the stops that they needed, and now have plenty of time. Now it's going to be a battle of the clock.
And again, our usual offensive set here with Mitchell and Hicks, wide left and right. They go to Butler up the middle. Oh, boy, that almost looked like a busted play, Walt. By the time Galliano got done with the fakes and he finally got it to Butler, there was a little bit of a crowd in the backfield. Well, certainly not the pace-setting play we might have hoped for.
Well, the Eagles looked like they were thinking about the clock and trying to grind it out. Butler hasn't carried the ball too much tonight, but when he has, he's been pretty successful with it. That time the play just developed too slowly.
This time Mitchell comes in motion to the near side. Galliano looks up top, drops back, and fumble. Recovered by Norristown. Damon Carroll heads up on the ball, but another loss on the play, and the Eagles are going the wrong way. Looked like, Walt, that time Galliano didn't have his primary receiver, and when he took the extra step back to look downfield, it was too late.
Well, again, maybe not as comfortable in the pocket as he is rolling out or running the ball, and you very well could be right. And Norristown, any high school football team, does not send a lot of players out into a receiving pattern. So there's not a lot to look at. There's just not a lot of choices, and if you don't have what you're looking for, it's tough to find something else.
My play selection here is Damon Carroll around the end on 3rd and 17. The play action to Carroll. He's sacked again. And there was nobody open downfield. That's a coverage sack, Walt. There were 3 Norristown receivers out in that pattern, including Eric Stead, the tight end, and 5 defensive backs. Only 1 man was in one-on-one, and Galliano never had a chance to see him.
Well, the Bucks have the luxury of sending plenty of people with those defensive backs back there, Norristown sends some players deep, and everyone else stays in. So there's no middle ground, and that allows the Bucks to send anyone who's not defending the receivers, to rush the passer, and you only have so much time in a situation like that.
And now we're going to see Brahim Mitchell to punt again. Steve Davis fumbled his first attempt, and they give the ball to Mitchell. End over end kick, kicks it away from the receiver, takes an Eagle bounce. It is fielded at about the 47. Roberts eludes one tackler, but he is brought down by number 6, Jeff Butler, on a nice play. Eric Stead is slow to get up. He was the first man downfield, missed the tackle. And Norristown unable to capitalize on what had been a good defensive series for them. The Bucks even more impressive, pushing the Eagles back about 15 yards on that last possession.
Well, we see that the Eagles can certainly throw the ball in the flow of their offense, but when they're forced to pass, it's very tough to complete anything. I'm sure they don't have too many passing plays into their scheme.
Eric Stead still down on the field. He's being helped up. And he's coming off with a little bit of a limp, but I think Eric will be all right. He's a competitor. Another guy who wants to be in there every snap of the ball. But Walt, the Bucks with good field position, they still retain a 3-point lead in this game, 27-24. We've got just under 9 minutes to play in the ball game, and they have got the ball just inside midfield. The Eagles will have to stay tough on defense here. Be interesting to see the play calling that the Bucks come with. And they go to Lowe right up the middle, and oh brother, look at this. Right up the middle, he is brought down from behind by Brahim Mitchell, assisted on the tackle by Phil Galliano, but that's a 45-yard carry down to the 5-yard line. Bill Lowe has got to have well in excess of 200 yards tonight.
He's just so amazingly quick. When he steps past your defensive line, it's almost impossible to get to him.
Well, I'll tell you, it was nothing fancy. I mean, it was a straight give to Lowe up the middle, and he breaks it for 45 yards. I mean, it wasn't too creative. They just did it.
No, they're not tremendously creative, but they're extremely disciplined, extremely well coached, and let's not overlook that they have fabulous talent year after year.
Well, I'll tell you, when you get down this far, you almost feel like it's an automatic the way the Bucks have been pushing the ball in on offense tonight. There goes Lowe around the right side, untouched again, touchdown. Boy, I'll tell you, it's not even a contest down there. Once Lowe gets his hands on the ball, you can almost put 6 on the board.
That's for sure. Anyone but Lowe would ruin their nice pattern they have going here.
Now that is Bill Lowe's 5th touchdown of the evening. He has run for 5 scores, accounting for 30 of his team's 33 points. And folks, we don't keep running statistics here in the press box, but certainly Bill Lowe well in excess of 200 yards, and this is really an incredible ball game for this young man. We try for the extra point again. The last one, of course, was wide left. This one's up and looks like it's good, and it is. So again, the Bucks have widened their lead to 10 points, and that's got to be a little disheartening for this Eagles squad. Now, time really marching onward here. We've got about 8 minutes to play. Certainly, hope is not lost, but the Eagles have got to do something quickly here and then somehow manage to stop the Bucks.
Well, again, they're so difficult to beat because you can't make any mistakes and you can't stall on offense. That's how good they are. That's how efficient they are. We've seen the Eagles make just one mistake on a fumble and stall on a couple of drives. Overall, the Eagles have looked very, very good. The Bucks are just so solid.
I'll tell you, the Eagles have managed to stop the Bucks only twice tonight. Once on the interception by Brahim Mitchell, and once on the punt that we saw just a few moments ago. Well, I'll tell you, 2 plays, 50 yards, all by Bill Lowe.
All Lowe, sure.
And he's done it all night.
It's certainly no surprise, I'm sure, to anyone who's watched him last year.
Well, again, if you're a Noristown fan watching this ball game, as I would guess you are, you have to realize the Eagles are playing one of the premier teams in the state of Pennsylvania. This team lost in the title game last year after an opening game loss to the Noristown Eagles in the 1993 season. A low kick taken by Butler at about the 22-yard line. He looks outside, gets some blocking help. Butler can't turn the corner, though. Well, yes, he does. Eludes several more tacklers, and a fine return by Jeff Butler almost to midfield, about the 44-yard line.
Well, he knows how important it is to have Noristown not driving from their own 20, but needing only 50 or 60 yards, because they do need 2 scores in under 8 minutes.
Well, I'll tell you, this has been a very well-played game, both sides of the ball. Very few penalties, only a minimum of turnovers, the fumble by Noristown, the interception by West. I've been very impressed with the way each squad has done things tonight, and a timeout by CB West. And that's their second timeout of the half, I believe, giving them 1 remaining. With 7:46 to play in the ball game. It's an interesting timeout. Wouldn't you think they'd had time to set their defense? They certainly didn't see anything from Noristown. Noristown was still in the huddle.
No, they were still huddled up. Perhaps he had another plan or another idea. I'm sure Pettin is always thinking over there. And this will probably be their only time out of the drive. This is to plan the entire defensive drive, I would assume.
Well, folks, it's been a beautiful night for football here at Roosevelt Field. Weather conditions have been just about perfect. Little, if any, wind. Game time temperature probably about 70 degrees. It's dropped off very little since then. And both of these teams have played up to their potential this evening. We have seen some outstanding offense.
And Jeff, if it happens as it should happen, and that is that both teams get better this year, neither will be beat.
Yeah, we've really seen a fantastic football game. If you haven't come out to the field and watched high school football in recent years, this is the year to do it, folks. This Noristown squad has some real talent. Galliano looks to pass, then goes to Carroll on the give, the delayed handoff, and Damon Carroll wisely gets out of bounds after picking up about 13 yards. And the Eagles really do want to conserve the clock here.
Well, I think he had a little help getting out of bounds there from Luke Maroney, number 14. But
you mean that guy who threw him out of bounds?
Well, it was a smart play. He was on the sidelines to start with, and that's where you're going to go, and that's what they need.
Damon Carroll adding to his fabulous evening with a 12-yard carry there. Ball now down to about the 42-yard line of the Bucks. Phil Galliano goes left this time. There's the pitch to Carroll. He's got room to the left. He looks to cut back inside. Carroll, good pursuit that time by West. They cut off the angle. Damon Carroll not able to turn the corner, but he picked up about 4 on the play.
Well, they played the option well. They string out the quarterback, but then also get some people to the outside so that the running back is also strung along the line of scrimmage. And perfect way to play the option. And actually, Jeff, we haven't seen Noristown go to that wide option much, less than we expected.
So the Eagles not using up much time here. Both of those plays resulting in players being knocked out of bounds. But we've got 2nd down and 6 for Noristown from the 36-yard line. Galliano goes up top, goes to Mitchell, and he overthrows him. Well, I tell you, Brahim Mitchell really showed some speed there as he blew by his defender. It was double coverage as the safety came over to help out.
Well, but that's the idea. If Noristown's going to complete any passing plays, it's either going to be on rollouts or it's going to be the quick 2-step drop and throwing it up there and letting Mitchell's athleticism do the work. He overthrew it because he had to throw it so quickly. Mitchell didn't have time to get downfield, but we've seen what happens when Galliano hangs out in the pocket. The West rush is just tremendous, and he doesn't have much time at all. So it was a well-designed play, well thought out. Obviously, they've made some adjustments on the sidelines, realizing that they don't have a lot of time in the pocket, and that one was just a little bit overthrown.
It was a nice tight spiral, but again, as you say, Galliano pulled the trigger a little too soon there, and he drops back to pass again. A deep drop. He's got pursuit. He's got to get rid of the ball. And he looks again, tucks it underneath, and he's going to have a loss of about 4 yards on the play. And that's not what the Eagles wanted out of that possession.
Well, that bears out what we just mentioned, that a lot of time in the pocket and even rolling out is going to be dangerous to Noristown.
Well, I really wonder about that play calling. I mean, as well as the Eagles' running game has done this evening. 2nd and 6, you only have 1 completion here in this game tonight for Phil Galliano. He's been under intense pressure. Certainly there's enough time to run the ball in for this score, and you have two plays that don't succeed.
Well, Roger Grove, knowing he needs a big score eventually, went for the big play on second down. Then he's at 3rd and 9 and almost forced to get big yardage on one play. And lately, well, in this whole second half, Noristown has been picking up 9 yards on the rush. It's been 4 or 5, if that.
And now you've got 4th and 9. Actually, there was a 3-yard loss on the play. And Noristown virtually forced to go for this. I mean, there's no real point in punting the ball. Ball's at the 39-yard line.
This will be the interesting play call. I mean, you almost can't run the ball here, but you're going to have to leave some sort of option. You can't drop Galliano straight back.
Well, certainly I think the Bucks will be looking for the pass, but they may play this cautiously, knowing what Damon Carroll has done to them on other plays off the delayed handoff. I certainly don't think that the Bucks can come all out at Phil Galliano on this play. They've got to be mindful of what Carroll's abilities are.
No, they'll play back and they'll play loose, and they'll make sure that it gets no farther than 6 yards. Or perhaps maybe Galliano will plunge into the line and pitch back to Carroll again. That worked so well last time.
That's great play calling. I like that. Let's go Galliano into the line for half a yard, pitch to Carroll for 50.
He said, Coach Grove said, I like that. It's in the book. Study up, fellas. Hey, we'll see what West comes out with here. It looks like they're dropping a few men deep straight back. You can see how spread out they are.
They come up tight on the wide receivers. Galliano takes his time setting the offense. He does drop the pass. Butler, oh boy. Boy, if there's anything you didn't want to do, it was lose 15 yards on that play. Now the Bucks have outstanding field position, and the Eagles' task is going to be very, very difficult. Looked like Phil Galliano ran right into the defender that time.
Yeah, you certainly can't blame him for trying to get away, though. I mean, that may be the game right there with how well the Bucks handle the ball. I mean, you can't blame him for trying to get away. He had to make something happen, but his 2 receivers, he was looking out to the left, both covered out there. In fact, one was too short, and the other, who was around the first down marker, was covered tightly.
So with 6:23 to go in this ball game, the Eagles down by 10. The Bucks with possession. A daunting task ahead of the Noristown Eagles here against one of the premier football teams in the state of Pennsylvania.
Well, they have to go 3 and out. They almost have no choice. A first down here is really going to kill them.
And I believe the Eagles have used 2 of their timeouts in this half.
Yeah, they can't rely on that at this point.
And you know, they'll keep it tight into low, and there he is. Picks up, I can't believe how he runs out of that pack. Another first down. I mean, that is simply a straight handoff off the left tackle, and the Eagle defense just can't handle this guy.
And it's amazing. He's a stand-up runner, but he just follows that pocket. I mean, Norristown shirts were moving just as fast as Lowe was. And really, as great a runner as he is, finds his holes so well and just knows how to use his blockers.
We've got a Bucks lineman down on the field. Again, it looks like it might be a leg cramp or a twisted ankle or something along those lines. But that's a first down for the Bucks, and they've got the ball down to about the 31-yard line of Norristown. And the Eagles have really got to throw up a defensive wall here if they're to have any chance of coming back in this ball game. But I really believe that last offensive series where they had 2nd down and 6 and went backward about 25 yards is going to be the death knell for them in this ball game. It's going to be very, very difficult to come back at this point. So again, we've got a break in the action here. The scoring in the second half has really been dominated by the Bucks of Central Bucks West, as they have taken gone from a 3-point deficit at halftime to a 10-point lead. Coming up on Norristown's schedule, folks, 2 away games, September 16th and 23rd at Ben Salem and at Neshaminy, both of those 7:30 starts. Then they'll be back home the next game, October 1st, against Central Bucks East. Interestingly, East, not the football powerhouse that their neighbors West are.
Yeah, East, in fact, usually trailing behind teams such as Pennsbury and Council Rock in Suburban 1.
And we have number 77, Adam Smizer, up and jogging off the field under his own power. We're happy to see that. after East, the Eagles are away again at Council Rock on October 8th, home again October 14th against Truman. Truman just back into the Suburban One League National Conference after some years away. Then the Eagles go away to face a tough Pennsbury team, back home for their final home game on the 29th against Abington, finishing out the schedule at North Penn and Souderton. Snyder on the keeper goes off the right side. He's bottled up nicely by the defense. Jeff Butler and Eric Stead out there. Give them credit for that tackle. Of course, Souderton was a game that the Eagles wound up playing on Thanksgiving Day last year because of a rainout. It was nice to see Thanksgiving Day football here in Noristown. We won't see that again this year. We're under 5 minutes to play here. It's now 2nd and 8. The ball's at the 29-yard line of the Eagles. We've got a penalty on the play. I think we had movement on the line there. I think we're going to back up the Bucks 5 yards here.
Yeah.
Oh, no, pardon me. Offsides Noristown. Well, no. Now twice we've signaled offsides Noristown, and we've backed the ball up 5 yards. So I believe the call is offside Central Bucks West.
Yeah, the way Stead jumped across, he looked up as if he was certainly pulled off.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly looked like from the way the call was made that it was offensive offsides, and indeed it was. So it'll be 2nd down and 14. Backs in the eye, that's motion again. We're going to back them up 5 more yards. The Bucks getting a little sloppy here late in the game with a big lead.
Well, Jeff, I think this is what Coach Mike Pettin of CB West doesn't want to see. I'm sure he's a bit worried about the number of points his team's been giving up. And now...
Well, geez, I'm wrong again here. It looks like now we're calling offsides against Noristown. It certainly looked to me like we had early motion on the line. Well, that negates the previous penalty, and we're back to 2nd down and 9. And we'll try this for the 3rd time. Ben Snyder, long count. This time he goes to low, up the middle. Fantastic blocking. Boy, I'll tell you, he just follows his blockers right up the hole.
And his blockers really do just drive people back. You don't see the blockers holding a man up and low getting by them. He just follows, and for at least 6-7 yards a pop.
We're going to call this 3rd down and a short 2. Certainly 2 big plays for Noristown as the clock ticks down to 3 minutes 28 seconds remaining. And again, the Bucks up by 10 points, 34-24. And my guess is you're going to see Bill Lowe carry the ball. And they do the keeper. Boy, that's interesting. Quarterback keeper on 3rd and 2, and I believe they got it. That's a lot of confidence in your interior lineman.
Well, Lowe's not the only beneficiary of that blocking. You saw Snyder just move forward for 2-3 yards. Normally a keeper isn't a 2-yard play.
And we have a 1st down, and folks, we'll be back in just 1 second with the finish of this fantastic ball game.